Man embarks on a treasure hunt after he accidentally rips off an old carpet inside his inherited farmhouse. But before we start, please give the video a like and make sure to subscribe to Wonderbot and hit the bell so you'll never miss any uploads from us. Grandparents' house is always one happy place for kids, and one of our best childhood memories are made in their house. They're the ones to introduce us to the creative world of stories, a world full of imagination. No matter how old we get, there's always something about their house that makes us feel like home. Certainly, we can never know anything about their lives, but it's always an interesting thing to do, to know the real-life incidents and happenings of our grandparents' lives. After all, those experiences become the reason for all wisdom. Well, sometimes our family members are experts in hiding the biggest events of their lives, so much that they take it to their grave with them. But one such secret was recently revealed on the popular social platform Reddit. A Reddit user, Evil English, remembered how he spent most of the holidays at his grandparents' place that was in Tennessee. It was their happy place, and the couple'd been living there since they got married. They bought a house and made it their home, a place where they dreamt of growing old together, and they actually did grow old together. The whole family used to get together at their place every Thanksgiving, and that used to be the happiest day for the Reddit user. In the first place, it was built as a farmhouse, but when in the 70s and 80s, Evil English's grandparents bought it, this place became their full-time home. The couple was looking for something exactly like this, and they were trying to get rid of the southern heat and live a life they'd always planned on living together. As time passed, the entire family kept living some blissful moments together until the old couple died. It was terrible seeing both of the elder family members go forever, but one thing that everyone made a settlement with was the fact that the couple lived a long, healthy, and joyful life, and then an easy, painless death. Now that the couple who bought it in the first place wasn't anymore, the old farmhouse was left empty. The house made every family member miss the actual residents of the place badly, and made them realize that they were long gone. Also, all their kids and grandkids were settled in different cities, and no one was ever going to stay in that place. Hence, they decided to put it up for sale. The entire responsibility of cleaning and selling the old farmhouse was left on Evil English, who had been the closest to his grandparents and their favorite grandkid as well. He knew it would be a difficult thing to walk into their house and go through all their belongings, as it will bring bundles of old memories back, but he was ready to do it anyway. Well, he was just expecting the memories to be unbearable, but there was much more than just memories hidden in that old farmhouse of his grandparents. As he walked inside the house, he thought it'd be the last time that he's there, but that plan wasn't going to work. Clearing out old family members' houses can often bring back a host of memories. All the belongings often hold a tale or two from the years spent together. Evil English had plenty of memories hidden in the house, as his grandparents have always been collectors. His grandmother used to read him stories of treasure islands and sometimes used to fascinate him with the stories of their own real-life adventures. Although she denied it later, he liked to believe that these stories were true. It was more interesting this way, by believing it. Nobody had even the slightest idea that he would encounter something quite similar to a treasure hunt in his real life too. He was clearing different areas one by one. First, the dining area, then the bedrooms, and later, after finishing with the balcony, he realized that he had just completed the easy part of the work and that the storeroom and the main closet are still remaining. Even though he wasn't doing it alone, what seemed to be an easy task was actually going to take a couple days. Therefore, he decided to stay there overnight and leave once the remaining work is done on the next day. During the night, he heard a weird noise from the downstairs. Without waking up his cousin, he went downstairs only to realize that the noise was coming from the closet under the stairs. As he opened the closet, a massive bundle of objects fell right in front of him, and a mouse ran out. So now he knew it was the first thing on the list to be checked the next morning: the closet. The next morning, he started to clean up the closet, and it was filled with all sorts of old objects, be it a wired telephone or be it a rusted kitchen stove. It took him hours before all the useless objects were removed and the closet seemed empty. Surprisingly, there was a carpet on the floor. There were no such carpets in the house anywhere else. Something about this carpet just didn't seem to fit. His grandparents never had carpets in their house because they were fond of wood flooring. Then why would they get this one carpet especially for a closet? Plus, this carpet looked like it had been a costly vintage piece at some time. The guy was too tired of the cleaning, but he couldn't just leave the carpet there. It was too dirty and torn from a few spots. No one would appreciate a carpet like that while buying a property. Therefore, he called his cousin to help him in ripping it off the floor. The moment of shock was right around the corner. As the duo started to peel off the carpet from different corners, they felt something was broken under it. Eventually, the carpet was removed and they noticed a round-shaped cut on the floor. Why would anyone spoil their floor like that? Both of them looked at each other and knew that they were growing more and more curious about it. It looked like someone had used a chainsaw to cut it and then placed it back in the same place. The old couple didn't even have a chainsaw in their home. The only sharp objects in their home were the knives in the kitchen. So did it mean that this was cut there even before their grandparents bought the house? But why would anyone do that? Possibly to hide something from the world? With so many questions on his mind, he immediately removed the wooden piece from the floor. To his surprise, the more he tried to solve the mystery, the more complicated it became. As soon as he removed the cape, it was hiding a secret safe inside. Seeing that it's a cave, they obviously tried to open it without wasting any more time. This mystery safe became much more intriguing when, after spending a whole week, he was unable to open it. He tried all that was in his hands, but it seemed impossible to unlock the safe. The safe wasn't ready to budge. It took him quite a lot of struggle and a long while before he could realize that the matter wasn't in his hands. He was updating about the mystery safe on Reddit on a daily basis, and his followers were quite interested in knowing about the improvement in unlocking the safe. After a week or so, the man finally gave up and called a locksmith. After he called, Tim the locksmith reached the farmhouse as quickly as possible. After all, it was one kind of challenge every locksmith would be happy to take. However, it wasn't easy at all, even for the professional, to unlock this safe. Tim worked on the safe for hours. There was a mixed feeling of nervousness as well as excitement. Those hours seemed to be the longest, and when it was finally over and the safe was unlocked, before even looking what lay inside, they felt like it was one victorious moment. Underneath the cover, there was a heap of bricks and stones and water all around it. This reminded the man of the water pipe leakage that took place inside the house a few years back. That most probably justified the groundwater explanation. Evil English was aware of the keen interest that his grandparents had in collecting different types of items. His grandpa used to collect pistols as well as sports memorabilia. He spent hours with his grandkids while sharing the stories with them behind each and every collected object. While his grandfather was fond of these two things, his better half was not behind in the race. She collected coins since her childhood and had hundreds of coins in her collection. But what was inside this safe was much more than a collection they shown to the world. As the bricks and the stones were removed, a huge time capsule became visible. It looked like it belonged to an entirely different era. And he wasn't wrong. The box was from the 1930s, as the first thing that he got in his hands was a coin book from 1937. At least that's what was mentioned inside the book. This was just the beginning of getting deeper into the discovery of this box. The sad part was all the things were destroyed from the outside because of the water leakage. The good part was that the coins were safe and in perfect condition, as if it was kept inside the nearly ruined book yesterday. There was much more things yet to come out of this box. Evil English kept on looking further and dug deeper. His efforts didn't go in vain, though. His grandmother seemed to have developed some serious obsession with coins than anyone would have guessed. There was more than one coin book in the safe. There was enormous kinds of coins in the safe, along with many dollar bills that were ruined by the water. If you think all this was surprising, then the interesting part has not been revealed yet. Most of the coins discovered standard issue versions, but some pieces in this collection were rare. What he didn't know was that these ordinary looking coins were actually holding a lot of worth. There were silver coins that belonged to his grandma, as well as there were his grandpa's belongings too. There were pure silver bars. These were very old pieces, as mentioned on top of it. All the information about the silver's manufacturer was on it. He also discovered an old rusted box. Although it looked like a small toolbox, it was hiding the biggest secret. Why would anyone hide a toolbox inside the safe? Didn't seem to make sense to him, and his doubts were certainly right when he opened the box. The so-called toolbox was filled with tons of jewelry and pocket watches. Even though some of the things were ruined by water, others were in good condition. It was clear that his grandparents spent their lifetime in collecting so many things. But what made them keep it a secret? He thought that was all the treasure when there was one more corner of the house that remained hidden. All in all, there were tons of coins and other jewelry inside the safe. When he shared the final pictures of what he found inside the safe, his followers were left amused. And so he asked for help. He recorded the journey that was no less of a treasure hunt for him. Well, most of the comments mentioned that this might cost him a fortune. Others commenters said that the items looked so ruined that they could be sold for less than $100. This confused the man, which was obvious to happen. Evil English decided to keep the coins as his grandma's memories. After all, it not only reminded him of his childhood, but also of the precious moments he had with his grandma. But weren't most of these coins almost ruined? There was one more safe inside the house. It was installed in the coffee table, and with a lot of expertise, they broke it in order to find out what was hidden inside. This was certainly his grandpa's idea. The safe had a lot of pistols and money. The money was Barr notes, an extremely rare kind. Joseph W. Barr was once the Secretary of State, although he stayed in the position for only 29 days, and it was there stored safely. People on social media offered him many options about what could be done with all this treasure he'd found. The response suddenly increased, and people were ready to pay a good amount for it. It's hard to imagine how Evil English, and then later his brother, must have felt when they found their grandmother's collection, and then their grandfather's collection on top of that. These belongings were quite close to the family's heart. Keeping the emotional part aside, people usually go for auction and get a handsome amount of money in return for the collection that would pay a much higher amount for such antiques than its market value. So what did Evil English do with all this treasure? Well, as intrigued as you must be, it might come as a big shock for everyone that Evil English deleted all the posts related to the treasure as well as the findings. This was strange for the followers who grew a keen interest in knowing about the belongings. Evil English kept it secret about what he did with the treasures and everything related to it. It was a big-time disappointment for all the people who were trying to help him in the first place. But maybe he believed in letting his followers wonder about what might have happened.